Alright, so I know I normally do Let's Plays and funny moments on this channel. I just wanted to do something a bit different, a bit helpful. I've seen so many comments and like searches about SMGs in Warzone at the moment. Taking this, I thought I'll have a go, see what I can create. If you're wondering why you should listen to me, to start with, I've got a playlist full of Warzone wins called Weekly Warzone Wins. I'll leave that in the description if you want to have a quick look. After testing a few out, the one that I thought was the best was the Vel 46. I usually play my first person shooters like quite fast paced. That's usually how I like to play. And this gun just is like perfect for that. Yeah, while I'm talking, I'll just put up in the background some gameplay. Just quickly wanted to explain what the different stats on Warzone mean. So as I'm saying, oh, it helps this or it doesn't help that, you kind of know what I'm on about. So just starting at the top, damage, super simple. Just how much you're hurting them basically, how much damage you're doing. Fire rate, again, super simple, just how fast are you shooting down range. Range, two things, it's the velocity, so how fast your bullets are actually flying, and like your damage fall off, so how far your bullets are still being effective. This one starts to get a little bit more confusing. The accuracy is just your hip fire, so there's nothing to do with aim down sight with your accuracy stat. That comes from the next one, which is recoil. Your recoil is going to affect both vertical and horizontal like movement with the gun as you're firing. And the final two might also be a little bit confusing, mobility and handling. So mobility is all about your player movement while you're using this gun. So it's going to include your strafe speed, so as you're walking around the place, as you're moving, as you've got your gun up and you're sliding side to side and things. And importantly, it's also going to affect your top speed. So when you have like a launcher or an LMG or something, or a sniper, and you know you start running really slowly, that's because your mobility is going to be like horrendous. A good way to remember it is handling is everything to do with your hands. So it's going to affect a few things. It's going to affect how fast you get your gun up, how fast you get your gun away, how fast you switch guns, your aim down sight speed, and finally your sprint to fire delay. As it sounds, when you're sprinting and you stop, how fast does it take your character to then get his gun up? I'll put the article, the website that I read that from, down in the description if you want to do your own research. Two things I just wanted to mention quickly before we get onto the attachments. One, it goes up to weapon level 29, and I've got it unlocked to weapon level 29. And two, it's actually a Modern Warfare 2 gun, so if you're wondering why you can't find it, you just need to change the filter from MW3 onto like all or onto just MW2 guns. Okay, let's move on to what you all came here for, the attachment. The first things first, started with a barrel. So I went for the Lock 152 Zulu. Because, as I mentioned at the start, for me personally, handling is very important with an SMG. All the other barrels are going to harm your handling apart from the Lock 152 Zulu. Apart from the LM Series 7, but that's going to hurt your mobility and your accuracy instead. Alright, moving around the front of the gun. So in the second slot, put a muzzle. The muzzle you're going to put on this is the Forge DX90F. That's because out of all of the muzzles, only 5 of them have got the suppressor or the silencer. Out of that 5, there's this one, the Forged DX90F, is the only one that's not going to hurt your handling. So in the third slot, we're going to have an underbarrel, and that underbarrel is going to be the Bruin Pivot Vertical Grip. So the reason behind this selection, so I know it's a fast-paced class, you know, push it in, sliding around the place. I know it's more common to fire from the hip with an SMG, but you're not going to be doing that for the entire gunfight. So it means it needs a little bit of work basically, which is why I put an underbarrel on this gun. And I chose this one specifically because out of all of the underbarrels, this one is within the top 3 in terms of recoil increase. On top of that, out of those 3, this is the only one that's not going to harm your mobility. So that's 3 out of our 5 slots now complete. Moving around to the bottom of the gun. Ammunition, I don't really use that much, and I wanted to save a slot for the back end of the gun. Moving on to the magazine. With the magazine, the gun already comes with 40 bullets. And out of your 3 options, one of them is increasing to 50, which doesn't really seem worth it because then you're using a slot just for 10 extra bullets. Second option it offers is to decrease down to 30. For Warzone, I wouldn't recommend just because you're usually fighting more than one person. So your final option, magazine-wise, is the 60 round mag. Although tempting having those extra 20 bullets, it is going to harm the 2 most important things, your mobility and your handling. To work well with the rest of the gun, because obviously we're trying for high mobility and high handling, downgrading both of those just for 20 extra bullets doesn't really seem worth it for me. Finally, just to mention with the magazine as well, as you'll see in a few minutes later in the video, I also run this class with the sleight of hand perk, which is going to neutralize the positive of having more ammunition in your magazine, if you get me. So yeah, just hold on for a few minutes and I'll cover the rest of the perks. Moving on to the back of the gun, we have 2 slots available left. We're going to use our 4th slot on a rear grip. Now with the rear grips on this gun, you've only got 3 available to you. And out of those 3, there's only one which is going to help you handling. And that's the Schlager Soldier Grip. A little unsure on the pronunciation of Schlager there, but it is what it is. Finally, using our 5th available slot, we're going to put a stock on the gun. Now this is where 4 and 5, I would say you can tweak depending on how you personally like to play. You can either match both of them with recoil and increase your recoil, or you can go half and half, or you can go all on handling. It's up to you personally. For me, I wanted to balance it out. So the rear grip I just mentioned is going to boost your handling. So with my stock, I chose the Assault 60 stock, as this is going to give you a little boost on the recoil, which is going to counteract the little hit the recoil took on the rear grip. So yeah, there's kind of 3 options. You kind of go double recoil, or double handling, or you go 1 recoil, 1 handling. That is our 5 slots now complete. And just to finish the discussion by having a look at the top of the gun, the optic or putting a scope on it, seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Like, you're not going to be using this gun at long range, so there's no point adding one on. The final attachment option you could put on is a laser. Now, I think this is a little bit of personal preference comes into this. Like, I personally think I play better with a laser, especially on an SMG. However, I would put the 5 attachment that I've got on this gun already as more valuable than a laser to the gun. Okay, so this is the final gun. You can see the stats there in the bottom left. So just to move through the rest of the class then, I partnered the SMG with the CAT AMR or the KATT, I don't know, sniper, solely because it had the most damage. I like to have the shock stick and the throwing knife because they're like 2 of the quickest things you can get out. And finally, to bring it all together is the perks. Rather important you get these right to match the gun and your style of play. Like, if you've got multiple different classes of multiple different guns, don't just use the same perks on every gun. So in slot 1, went for double time, so my mobility and handling again. Perk slot 2, as I mentioned, is the sleight of hand. Perk slot 3, I went for the stalker. Again, the decision behind this is because if you read the description, it is basically more positive, adding on to your already good mobility and handling for this gun. And finally, in perk slot 4 is the OG perk, Ghost. Just because, so useful, you don't have to worry about UAVs and things. Alright, and there you have it. As you can see, that is the full class. So yeah, I know this has been a slightly different video, but if you've enjoyed something a little bit different, please let me know. If this is well received and people do sort of like this kind of videos, I'm definitely more than happy to mix it into like the rest of my content. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know down below if you do give this class a go. I want to know if people get some success out of it like I have. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.